annoying part of Jamaica.
God, what an asshole he is.
All right. So when Jenny asked us to write our aspirations for this My Tree, mine's always been the same thing. By always, I mean twice. Love. It's all about love. It's always only been about love, and I'm working towards that. So we'll see how that goes. This is called L is for Love. That's an L. It's from a book called Days of War, Nights of Love. It's one of the most, maybe the most meaningful book that I've ever read. My first girlfriend gave it to me in high school, and it really changed my life. It's not the Dharma, but it was an awakening moment. So I'm going to share this chapter with you. I don't have the book anymore because I gave that book to my next girlfriend. She didn't destroy it. It's a little bit political, so if you have a problem with that, just, I don't know, be over soon. Alright.
Tough gone.
Tough gone. Leave me alone. L is for love. Join the resistance, fall in love. Falling in love is the ultimate act of revolution, of resistance to today's tedious, socially restrictive, culturally constrictive, patently ridiculous world. Love transforms the world. Where the lover formerly felt boredom, he now feels passion. When she was once complacent, she now is excited and compelled to self-asserting action. The world, which once seemed empty and tiresome, becomes full of meaning, filled with risks and rewards, with majesty and with danger. Life for the lover is a gift, an adventure with the highest possible stakes. Every moment is memorable and heartbreaking.
I'm recording this for a little while.
But when he falls in love, a man who once felt disoriented, alienated, confused, finally knows exactly what he wants. Suddenly his existence makes sense to him. It becomes very valuable, even glorious and noble. Burning passion is an antidote that will cure the worst case of despair and resignation. Love makes it possible for individuals to connect to others in a meaningful way. It impels them to leave their shells and risk being honest and spontaneous together, to come to know each other in profound ways. Thus, love makes it possible for us to care about each other genuinely, rather than at the end of a gun of a Christian doctrine. At the same time, it plucks the lover out of the routines of everyday life and separates her from other human beings. She feels a million miles away from the head of humanity, living as she is in a world entirely different from theirs. It is in this sense that love is subversive, because it poses a threat to the established order of our modern lives. The boring rituals of the workday productivity and socialized etiquette no longer mean anything to a man who has fallen in love, for there are more important forces guiding him. Marketing strategies that depend on apathy and insecurity have no effect upon him. Entertainment designed for passive consumption, which depends upon exhaustion or cynicism, no longer interests him. There is no place for passionate romantic love in today's world, business or private. For he can see that it might be worthwhile to hitchhike to Alaska, or to sit in the park and watch the clouds go by with his sweetheart, and to study an calculus exam or to sell real estate. And if he decides that it is, he will have the courage to do it rather than being tormented by unsatisfied longing. He knows that breaking into a cemetery and making love under the stars will make for a much more memorable night than watching television ever could. So love poses a threat to a consumer-driven economy, which depends on the consumption of largely useless products for the labor and the consumption that necessitates to perpetuate itself. Similarly, love poses a threat to a political system, for it's difficult to convince a man who has a lot to live for in his personal relationships to be willing to fight and die for abstractions such as the state. For that matter, it may be difficult to convince him even to pay taxes. It poses a threat to cultures of all kinds, for which human beings are given wisdom and valor. By true love, they will not be held back by traditions or customs in which their feelings that guide them. Love even poses a threat to society itself. Passionate love is ignored and feared by the bourgeoisie. It poses a great danger to the stability and pretense they combat. Love permits no lies, no falsehoods, not even polite half-truths, but lays all emotions bare and reveres all secrets which domesticated men and women cannot bear. You cannot lie with your emotional and sexual response. Situations or ideas that excite or repel you, whether you like it or not, whether it's polite or not, and whether it is advisable or not. One cannot be a lover and be dreadfully responsible, a dreadfully respectful member of today's society at the same time. For love impels you to do things that are not responsible or respectable. True love is irresponsible, irrepressible, rebellious, scornful of cowardice, dangerous to the lover and everyone around her, for it serves one master alone, the passion that makes the heart beat faster. It detains anything else, be it self-preservation, duty, or shame. Love urges men and women to heroism and to anti-heroism, to indefensible acts that don't need to be defended, for the one he loves. The lover speaks a different moral and emotional language than the typical bourgeoisie man does. The average bourgeoisie man has no overwhelming smoldering desires. Sadly, he knows it is the silent despair that comes with spending his life pursuing goals set for him by the family, his educators, his employers, his nation, and his culture, without ever being able to consider what needs he might really want. Without the burning fire of desire to guide him, he has no criteria upon which to choose what is right and wrong for himself. Consequently, he is forced to adopt some dogma or doctrine to direct him throughout his life. There are a wide variety of moralities to choose from in the marketplace of ideas, but which morality a man buys is so immaterial as long as he chooses one, he is at a loss otherwise what to do with himself in his life. How many men and women, having never realized that they had the option to choose their own destinies, wander through their life in a dull haze, thinking and acting in accordance with the laws that have been taught to them, merely because they no longer have any idea what to do? The lover needs no prefabricated principles to direct her. Her desires identify what is right and wrong for her. For her heart guides her through life. She sees beauty and meaning in the world, because her desires paint the world in these colors. She has no need for dogmas, for moral systems, for commandments, and for imperatives, for she knows what to do without instruction. Thus, she goes and indeed poses quite a threat to our society. What if everyone decided right or wrong for themselves without any regard for conventional morality? What if everyone did what they wanted to do with the courage to face the consequences? What if everyone feared a loveless, lifeless monotony more than they feared taking risks, more than they feel being hungry or cold or in danger? What if everyone set down their responsibilities and their common sense and dared to pursue their wildest dreams, to set the stakes so high and live every day as if it were their last? Think of what a place the world would be. Certainly it'd be different than it is now. And that is quite a truism for people of the mainstream, the simultaneous keepers and victims of the status quo. They fear change. And so, despite the stereotyped images used in the media to sell toothpaste and honeymoon suites, genuine passionate love is discouraged in our culture. Being carried away by your emotions is frowned upon. Instead, we are raised always to be on our guard, lest our hearts lead us astray. Rather than being encouraged to have the courage to face the consequences of risk taken in pursuit of our heart's desires, we are counseled not to take risks at all and to be responsible. And love itself is regulated. Men must not fall in love with other men, nor women with other women, nor individuals of different ethnic backgrounds with each other, or else the usual bigots who form the front line of be offensive on the assault on modern Western culture upon the individual will step in. Men and women who have already entered into a legal and religious contract are not to fall in love with anybody else, even if they no longer feel any passion for their marital partners. Love, as most of us know today, is carefully prescribed and preordained ritual. Something that happens on Friday nights in expensive movie theaters and restaurants. Something that fills the pockets of shareholders in the entertainment industry, without preventing workers from showing up in the office on time and ready to reroute phone calls all day long. This regulated commercial love is nothing like the burning fire that consumes a genuine lover. Restrictions, expectations, and regulations smother true love. For love is a wild flower that can never grow within the confines prepared for it, but only appears when it is least expected. We must, that's one paragraph, bro. We must fight against these cultural restraints that will cripple or smother our desires. For it is love that gives meaning to life, desire that makes it possible for us to make sense of our existence and find purpose in our own lives. Without these, there is no way for us to determine how to live our lives, except to submit to some authority, to some God, master, or doctrine that will tell us what to do and how to do it, without ever giving us the satisfaction that self-determination does. So fall in love today, with men, with women, with music, with ambition, with yourself, with life. The only other person I know that knows about it.
I'm in this book. take note of people who